Happy Halloween, everyone, and welcome to dojolive this October 31st, 2024. My name is Kim Lantis, and it's my pleasure to be hosting today. This is part 3 of our series, Revolutionizing Group Travel, where we've been uncovering the ways technology is reshaping the event planning landscape. In our previous conversations and episodes with Groups 360, we explored the impact their impact on the marketplace and event organizers, delving into efficiencies that it creates, everything from streamlined venue sourcing to enhanced data insights. It's super cool, empowering planners, of course, to make smarter, faster decisions. But today we're going to be pivoting, and I'm excited to focus on how these innovations are transforming the supplier side. Here joining me once again is Groups 360's Tim Flors. Hey, Tim.
Hey, Kim, how are you doing? Good to see you again.
I am
Happy
doing
Halloween.
Happy Halloween, boo. Good to see you as well. And of course, I'm so excited to introduce you all to Muir, who's the Vice President of Partnerships, Experiences, and Distribution at Hilton Worldwide. Oral, thank you for joining us.
Hello, everyone. Hi.
Yes. All right. So are you guys ready to discuss the latest advancements, everything from automation to instant booking, and how these tools are optimizing sales strategies and redefining the group travel experience?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Perfect. To get us started, if you could, Oral, I know that you have a very rich background in partnerships, experiences, and distribution. I mean, it's in the title. Could you share a bit about your personal journey and how this sort of has shared your approach to enhancing group travel and, of course, event experiences? Thank you.
Ooh, you're starting with a tough question. Well, Kim, it's been quite a journey, and, you learn a great many lessons over time. And, the lessons never stop, though, right? I'm certainly a whole lot wiser today than I was even just 6 months ago.
I love that.
What I'd say, though, that shapes my approach is I've developed a deep appreciation for understanding the needs of the different audiences served by any product or service or process, right? And then what level of change management is needed to move them from one place to another. And in big organizations, that can be tough, certainly. And then how do you drive adoption of new behaviors? And the big epiphany that I had, some moons ago now is it's on their timeline, not on yours. And once you understand and internalize that, then you put your resources and your calories against calibrating expectations and then calibrating incentives accordingly. That I find that helps me quite a bit.
I think that's it, folks. That's the show. It's on their timeline, not yours. Great dojolive. See you next time. I love that. And talking about this, I know that Hilton has a vast inventory now available online. And I'm curious as to how this global accessibility has changed the group booking landscape for you, the benefits that you're seeing and having all your rooms and meeting spaces available on demand, not on your time, on their time. And can we dive into that a little bit?
Sure. What I'd say is more efficiency is good for everyone, right? For our customers, our hotels, and our team members especially. It's always great. And digital group and how it's evolving and how it's growing, I fully expect the same benefits that we've seen in the transient online leisure and business travel space around improvements in speed, content efficiency, and a really cool thing. I think we'll reach an inflection point very soon where the new infrastructure and the new capabilities that are being developed by Group 360 and other companies they work with, that will then lead to an accelerated pace of innovation, because those tools, when they're in the hands of really smart, capable people who then actually can see how those tools can help them solve problems, they'll begin to innovate quickly because they can now access it. They can now, do mashups and other things that are really hard to do when the capability of the tech is not, in your hands. Hopefully that helps.
I love it. Tim, is there anything else that you'd maybe like to add from the Group 360's perspective, how else has moving inventory online helped suppliers like Hilton meet their market demands, prioritize venue, everything about it? Anything to add?
No, totally. I think to Oral's point, right? I think both customers and suppliers are looking for efficiency. So if I'm a hotel, right, how do I get the most out of my team members who are working in the sales department? One of the things that I can't do, I typically can't staff my sales office 24/7, 365. But I have customers who want to buy in that manner, right? I've got my soccer moms, soccer dads. I have my wedding groups that are typically doing these activities on the weekends that where they're not going to have a hotel salesperson sitting on property, but they want to have that rate and access to that inventory so I can put it on my not.com wedding website so my attendees could find that Hilton hotel that I can actually have you stay at. And so what we find is about 60% of all of our bookings happen outside of normal business hours, which is kind of expected behavior, right? If I'm that busy executive or I'm that busy administrative assistant in the office, I have a normal job to do during the day. But late at night, early in the morning, on the weekends, that's when I have that couple of minutes to go through and book that meeting for a handful of weeks from now to get that done. And from the hotel side, it allows me now as the sales individual, and again, like we've talked about before, like I was on property for about a decade, where it would allow me to focus on larger, more complex, more revenue generating meetings that I cared about because that got me to my goal faster than the smaller meetings that I would get to, but just it may take me a little bit longer than those other meetings and events. So for me as a hotel salesperson, I would love that efficiency to be able to say, got it, even for my local accounts, right? You can see there's another office building right behind me here. If I'm the hotel, I should go make sure that everyone in that corporate office knows that I'm here, and you can instant book this hotel and walk to your office the next day. Simple and easy, just even that local backyard business that I could go and acquire.
Absolutely. And so I think to Oral's point earlier, it's you're thinking about the guests who's booking, making it easy for them, and then making it easy for oneself. And I think the benefits are limitless in a lot of those ways. And I also think it's just making everyone happier, right? And when everyone's happier, it helps on so many, the operation side, the revenue side. Can we talk to that a little bit, Oral? How are you seeing this digitizing of groups and events booking impacting Hilton's business now and going forward? I mean, how's it working out?
You know, I'm a huge believer, so I'll be careful and not, well, I'm a true believer, so I don't want to sound like true believers tend to believe, right? Tend to sound. So I'll try to sound very sober. you know, what I'd say is it's interesting.
Preach it, Oral. Preach it.
At our scale, right, we have over 8,000 hotels around the world in over 120 countries. And so we're a big growth business. We do reach most customer segments already. And what we believe, though, and we're seeing it in our business, is that digital technology extends the opportunity to serve different audiences and serve different use occasions differently. And so you heard Tim say some of it earlier. If you're a large company and you're typically book meetings of 1,000 or 10,000 people, and you use traditional means to do that, then choosing a digital channel when you are booking for 10 people or 100 people is something that definitely changes how you think about your time. It changes how you think about your resources. And when you create a digital marketplace, there are other things that you may now not have to go find, right? Well, oh my God, now that I am doing this meeting, my boss loves azaleas, and so I want to cover the stage with azaleas. If the platform you're on allows you to book your meeting, book the stay rooms as well, and then can help you access other kinds of services, or now give you time back to go and access those other services where you had to do everything yourself before. It transforms how people use their time, and then in effect, how they use our business and the kinds of things that they can access our business for. And we have a lot of amazing people on property who deliver events. And same thing, if you're reaching out and you see, I'll use an example from the leisure transient space to make this point and land it. Over a period of time, as digital grew, what you saw was instead of people calling, let's say the call center, or reaching out to someone on property, the experts, and saying, "Hi, can you tell me where to stay?" People reached out and said, "I've chosen where I want to stay. Now help me modify and customize my stay and the engagement." I think the same thing will happen in events and meetings. The booking becomes less the issue for things that typically are labor intensive. And then now the customer will be free to customize their stay, which will actually generate more revenue and deeper engagement with those customers.
That's two really big words in the industry. You got personalization on one side, and you have upsells.
Yeah.
On the other side. I love it. You were talking about, different individuals and different, elements that you're servicing. And this made me think of how this new capability, level accessibility, you mentioned weddings, you mentioned soccer moms also, Tim. How is this helping you engage with other kind of customer segments a bit more? This was something that I learned from Tim on a previous show. He was mentioning Smurf, and I was like, I know we're not talking about the little blue guys, but it was a completely new acronym for me. So the social, military, educational, religious, fraternal groups, is that something that you're now aiming for more, or perhaps even more effectively than you were before?
I don't know that it's aiming for more. I think we've always loved all of those different types of groups in our hotels, and certainly in different markets. We have a variety of sizes of properties that meet all those various market needs. But it's also about time, right? So depending on particularly the social groups, it's an interesting one, because in many cases what you have are volunteers. If you're not talking about a big association, you're talking about volunteers doing events. And if let's say it's a fraternal organization, same thing, right? Volunteers with limited time, committing their own personal time away from family to make something big happen for a group that's driven by their passion. So this ability to actually target and lean in to passion point tribes and people who can then be more passionate about our business because they see that we're passionate about the things that they care about, that's a big deal.
Absolutely. And I guess it makes it easier. Like I'm assuming, Tim, we could talk about this a bit too from your perspective, but when someone comes into the Group 360 platform, it's much easier to identify or even present the options that are going to be more attractive to those individuals in those specific niches.
That's exactly right. So I think we focus a lot of time talking about the instant booking component, which typically ranges from 10 rooms on peak on the busiest night up to like 25 or 50, depending on the hotel or brand. But to Oral's point, though, it's essentially I'm a volunteer for a large association. And again, it's my passion project, right? Maybe anyone who knows me knows I'm the biggest Apple fanboy that exists, right? I might create an association of fellow Apple fan individuals who want to join this association, but I'm doing it in my spare time, right? So how do I find a really unique location that people want to go to that wants to drive attendance, right? Because in these organizations, that annual meeting is sometimes how the sole funding mechanism for this association. It's what keeps me going. So if I don't find it attractive and really almost as importantly, an affordable location for my members that's convenient to them, it just doesn't work. And so even on our RFP tool, that's where we provide better insights and knowledge to those types of consumers to help them identify those markets that could be a better fit for that type of consumer. So instant booking is great. And I think it's, to Oral's point, can buy back some of that time to allow that planner, whoever that planner is, to be more creative and provide a better experience on property. But even you can still save that time and effort on the traditional RFP component by providing better information to that consumer who may not do this every single day, as most Smurf customers do not.
Absolutely. You touched a little bit, on how you're able to optimize the support for this wider range of customer segments, or when you have your own locations that have their kind of, sweet spot, this is their specialty for that segment. Are there strategies or tools that you'd suggest to help suppliers like Hilton and others reach more diverse group travel clients? What strategies are you seeing out there? Tim, go ahead, or Oral, either one of you. Are you hearing me? Are we good?
We can hear you. I'll let Tim take that.
Okay.
Yeah. So how we're going after different customer segments?
Yeah, or with the strategies or tools you would suggest for suppliers, like with your tool, or how to go about those segments. Yeah.
I'll be honest. And so I mentioned the one about corporate travel, and I think I call backyard business some of the heart and soul for, especially when we talk about like focus service hotels. Backyard business is kind of the key to what they do, right? And so I mentioned office complexes, just the one that I'm in right now. When I was working at smaller hotels, essentially I'd be cold calling every one of these customers behind me saying, who do you have for business travel that's coming in? And even for the group standpoint, right? Oftentimes most of the office spaces like this don't have significant size of conference room. And what happened now with this more remote world is that I now have folks coming in from Orlando to our office. I have folks coming in from Detroit. We have folks coming in all over the country to Nashville. I don't have a space to accommodate. I would love to know that I've got a hotel nearby as a corporate user that I could use for space, as well as house my guests that are coming in from out of town. And so I think there's a lot of unique ways that we can attack the corporate market as well with online booking. And even if I'm a small hotel and I'm thinking, man, I don't really do a lot of corporate groups. You think about it, you actually do. It's just the corporations that are sitting in your backyard and those employees of those organizations, those customers of those organizations, or those sales individuals calling on those large corporates that are in your backyard who are coming in for that. So that's kind of how I think about the corporate side. If I was just a smaller hotel.
I love that.
Great answer, Tim.
Yeah. Anything you'd like to add to that, Oral?
No, that was too perfect.
Okay. I love it. Let's talk a bit more about Hilton's experience, what it has been like using technologies like Groups 360s, what advice that you might give to other hotel brands or venues looking to join a platform like theirs. What was sort of that experience like for you?
Well, so first, we're focused at Hilton at providing great experiences and stay occasions for customers. And that extends certainly to the groups and event space. And one thing I want to highlight is really, I love this one. It's one of our new partnerships with a company called AutoCamp. And what they do is they offer these great outdoor stay occasions in these luxury Airstream trailers, or accommodations. I shouldn't use the other word. I've done a meeting there, and a number of our teams have done meetings at these glamping sites, and it's really cool, right? Because you're in a meeting facility, but then you're outdoors, and at night you're under the stars, and you're doing s'mores together. And so I think this focus on different stay occasions, different kind of experiences, even in the meeting space, newer technology, especially because in these cases with something like AutoCamp, we're targeting a much younger consumer who is not looking to book anything in the traditional way. And so certainly very much aligned with and a great intersection with our goals and our brands and our business. What I'd say, my gosh, great experience so far with Group 360. I'm all in. I'd say come on board, help drive the revolution in group travel. Call Tim. And don't forget to stay at Hilton Hotels.
I love it. We'll get to the end here of how you can call Tim and get a hold of that for more information about Group 66. Hold on online. But I like this idea of you're talking about the younger generation, this constant push just toward technology itself. Can we talk a little bit about how you at Hilton just embrace the hospitality technology side, maybe any words of wisdom that you might have and how to go about, when you're choosing the technologies that you want to use, the partners that you would like to partner with, what's that process look like for you to help make smart decisions, and maybe what tips you might have out there for the partnership side, the vendor side of like, this works, this is what we want.
Well, I'll be careful not to give too many tips to help out the competition. But what I'd say is, what we choose, we look for best-in-class brands and partners, and people who are deeply passionate about what they're doing, that we can go all in with. And we're not looking to do deals. So that's probably one thing I can share universally, and I think everyone should think this way. Look to do long-term partnerships where you can commit to driving transformation together, and driving lots of value together, and making the lives of your mutual customers better together. I think if you make those things your key tenets, then you can have a tremendous success. And we realize that we have more capability than smaller companies, but it's essentially where you choose to invest. We chose to invest in a way that a number of our competitors didn't. like for instance, in our ability to actually let you actually use a digital key to get into your room. You can do that pretty much at over 6,000 of our hotels around the world. And a number of other capabilities, like be able to confirm a connected room online. So if you were to go to a conference with 4 of your friends, you can actually upfront confirm that you're in rooms adjacent to each other, and even perhaps with the doors that open in between. And so those seem like small things, but when people are traveling as families or together to an event for, let's say, it's a fraternal or sorority, or gosh, just an association for a cause you're all very passionate about, again, being able to be together in the same spaces matter. And those are the kind of investments that will make a difference.
Yeah, I will say I'm a father of 2 little girls of 9 and 7. The connected room feature that you can guarantee online with Hilton is huge, right? To have a room for the parents, a room for the kids. So I typically like to go to bed at 8 o'clock, maybe 9 o'clock, but not 8 when the kids go to sleep. But really, if for anyone listening who's not tried it out on Hilton, it's really a unique feature that I think only Hilton offers.
All right. I love that. Or what about the forward thinking side or these epiphanies? You mentioned an epiphany in terms of it's not on our time, it's on their time. What do you utilize as an individual, like as a person, to help you keep that mindset of like this innovation, not to, get tired or old or just complacent?
Oh, wow. So I do I have a lot of younger friends, and folks approach me and say, well, we're looking for mentoring or something like that. And my answer is usually, no interest in being a mentor, but I'd love to be your friend. And we can exchange ideas, and I can learn from you as much as you learn from me. And I love their reaction initially when I say no to the mentoring thing. So I usually give them time to kind of, I'm like, no. I'm actually saying I want to engage with you just differently. And then they go, oh, wow, I like that a lot better. And then I read everything. Specifically, I read things that are not a part of my typical process and how I was educated and where I was educated. I read music magazines. I read about tattoo magazines and music, different forms of music around the world. Interestingly enough, over time, you form these puzzles in your head, and a new piece of information will sort of pop up at some point. That'll really sort of be the keystone that fits a new puzzle together and gives you an answer. And if you just take information from your traditional sources, you will miss out on opportunities to actually bring new things in. And so those are 2 ways for me. Always bring in new, fresh, interesting ideas and information from different people who from completely different experiences, I think can be transformative.
Absolutely. And that I think is the heart of hospitality, right? Because the people who go to your hotels and stay with you as your guests are going to be varied and different. And I think it helps you to meet all those different needs where they're at and make it an excellent stay, no matter who you are or where you're going. I love that.
Absolutely. Well, I love it. I want to record that and use that over and over. You go.
Perfect. Tim, how about you as an individual? I mean, you've been in this space for a long time. You've worked the operations side, you've worked the technology side. How do you keep yourself forward thinking and excited about innovation?
Yeah, honestly, if you can tell, I like talking to people. And honestly, it's asking a lot of questions to a lot of individuals. And I agree with Oral. I mean, as much as I want to talk to my fellow hospitality and hospitality technology peers, I like talking to people who are a little bit outside of our industry, right? How are they making their business more efficient? How are they getting more out of their teams? How are they doing better things for their customers that we can glean insights from? I think when you talk to the same people who look and feel just like you kind of get very similar results. And so I think you have to stretch yourself to talk to people who don't look and act and wasn't educated the same way that you were, wasn't from the same hometown that you were in, to really truly get different ideas. And for me, a lot of it truly comes in talking with just customers, either customers that are prospects of ours, customers that are current customers of ours, because some of our best ideas that we've had of how and why we created the tech that we have comes from them. And because as much as I think I know, because I was in the hotel industry as long as I have been doing this for 10 years, the customers are the ones, that's the pain point we're trying to solve for. Because if I can do that, Oral and the folks at Hilton and his team members on property love it. If they have a happy customer, we're happy, everyone's great. But the key is really understanding that customer.
Amen, Tim.
Absolutely.
Amen.
Absolutely. Because what was going on 10 years ago is not what's going on today. Some things. right? But it's moving increasingly fast. Oral, any other final words of wisdom that you'd like to say in terms of your Groups 360 experience, online booking experience for groups? What's coming up next for Hilton? How would you like to close out today's show?
Wow. What I'd say is there's a revolution happening. And I think the part of it that I want to see happen next is, and I know Groups 360 is on top of this, and I look forward to working with them on it, is using all the current means and new tools, whether it's TikTok, long, short form video, all the different means of delivering great content to customers to drive imagination and help them learn from the same way people look at whether it's home and garden television or any other means of sort of figuring out how they might want to decorate their home differently, magazines. I want folks to actually get to that place where they begin to use our business at Hilton.com and certainly Groups360.com to begin to imagine new ways of making their events and meetings amazing because we're providing that content.
Amazing. And, Oral, if someone would like to be your friend, not your mentee, if they would like to reach out to you to kind of talk about this or learn more about what Hilton Worldwide's up to in the groups space, how might they go about doing that?
Oh, I'm easy to reach either on LinkedIn or just oral.muir@hilton.com.
Amazing. And Tim, likewise, we've got our audience who's probably very interested in what Groups 360 could do for their hotels like they've done for Hilton. What might they be able to do to get a hold of you, to get a hold of Groups 360 to learn more?
Yeah, very similar to Oral. I'm tim.flors@groups360.com. Also can find me on LinkedIn. Happy to chat. And if you're a hotel and you're kind of newer to the instant booking space, you're hearing about it, but you're not quite there yet, I ask you to give it a try. Have a quick conversation. Think about bringing group travel online, kind of where you thought things were with Expedia and hotels.com back in the day of bringing transient online, right? It seemed like this was a huge shift, but now look where we're at today, and it's just kind of a natural part of business. We understand it's not a light switch, it's a dimmer switch, but the biggest thing is learn about it. Like we just talked about, if you're not familiar, happy to have a conversation. If you're not ready to jump in yet, let us educate you about kind of what the value proposition is and how it can benefit you and your property.
Amazing. Thank you. Thank you so much. Oral, it has been a pleasure meeting you, learning from you today, being your friends today, learning from you today. Hopefully you learned something from us as well.
Pleasure's all mine.
You're welcome back on dojo.live anytime. Tim, a pleasure as always. Likewise, we hope to speak to you further down the road as well about all the cool tech that you're up to.
Absolutely. Thank you, Kim.
Thank you. So our audience, we'll see you on Tuesday, November 5th. Don't forget, Sunday is daylight savings, you guys. So if you gotta what is it? Fall forward, fall back. We're falling back on Sunday, but it will be 10 o'clock a.m. Pacific. As always, we'll be speaking with Will Gilbert, who's co-founder of Bodhi. That is a cloud-based building management platform. Say that 10 times fast. They are able to centrally monitor, analyze, schedule, and control all the technology on your property from one single interface. So it's going to be a great conversation as we also to see what they're up to and see what they took away from the hospitality show this week. So join us at 10 o'clock a.m. Pacific on Tuesday. Thank you once again, Tim, Oral. Have a great day, everyone.